There are a lot of debates about addiction in the world today. Every single individual has their perspective on addiction, what it is, how it should be treated, and whether it can be controlled by choice. It even goes to the extreme of identifying someone as a good or a bad person. Addiction is complicated and it impacts everyone, either directly or indirectly. However, everyone should view addiction with compassion and understanding rather than indifference and criticism. If we could all get on the same page, it would help the recovery process. It would help addicts reconnect in the world compared to being isolated, and it would help our society prosper. As I grew up, drug use was everywhere, in our community, in my family, and even in my home. I have experienced negative effects that drug use causes, and I wasn't even the user. I remember asking a relative, why do people use drugs? Their response was, because they choose to, which was partially right. Everyone has the initial choice to use a drug for the first time. However, my curiosity didn't end there. As I grew up, my experiences drew more concerns, such as, why would anybody want to live their life this way? With tons of research, I found that most of the time, they don't. With my own personal experience, I found that support and love can help addicts get clean, and more importantly, stay clean. Let's go on to more depth. Understanding addiction can help addicts in their recovery. Learning what science has discovered about addiction will help you be understanding. Science has identified drug addiction as a chronic relapsing brain disease that results from the persistent effect of drugs on the brain. That the impact of chronic drug use has been identified in the brain at all levels: molecular, cellular, structural, and functional. Drugs take a toll on a person's mind and body. According to Alan I. Leither, November 1999, who wrote a peer-reviewed article on conquering addiction, states, initially, drug use is voluntarily, but prolonged use seems to throw a metaphorical switch in the brain. Once that switch is thrown, the individual moves into the state of addiction, characterized by compulsive drug seeking and use, even in the face of adverse health and social consequences. We need to understand that drug addiction is a brain disease that impairs the user's ability to control intake. It is no longer a choice of using after an individual is an addict. Moving on. We can help addicts be less isolated and disconnected in life just by being more accepting and compassionate. Supporting evidence suggests that people who are isolated and disconnected in life create weak bonds, such as drug use. John Harry hosted a TED Talk titled "Everything You Think You Know About Addiction Is Wrong" in 2015. He is a journalist who traveled around the world to learn about addiction. In his talk, he states with logical reason that human beings have a natural and intimate need to bond. When we are happy and healthy, we'll bond and connect with each other. But we can't do that. But if you can't do that because you're traumatized, isolated, or beaten down by life, you will bond with something that will give you some sense of relief. We all need a reason to be present and connected in life. With a community that is compassionate and understanding, it would make it easy for addicts to reconnect and be successful in overcoming their addiction. Now, lastly, better views on addiction could help our society overall. Science has proven drug treatment to be successful with new concepts and procedures. If we all took the time to understand addiction with open minds, while following what evidence has shown us to be successful, we could make a big difference in making our community a better place. According to Alan I. Leither, a journal artist on drugabuse.gov titled "Why Should We Treat Addiction Anyway? The Solution We Refuse to Use," he states, Drug treatment reduces drug use by 50 to 60%, and arrests for violent and non-violent criminal acts by 40% or more. Drug use treatment reduces the risk of HIV infection, and interventions to prevent HIV are much less costly than treating a person with AIDS. Treatment tied to vocational services improve the prospects of employment with 40 to 60% more individuals employed. These numbers make a big difference in our community. It is a shame that 1 in every 10 addict gets the treatment they need for a successful recovery. Partly because of the negative views our society has on addiction. People who question the worth or not addicts deserve treatment, because they are viewed as moral failures, some people still question whether treatment is successful because there is so much drug use in the world today. In the same article, he goes on and says, best estimates that for every dollar spent on drug treatment, there is a $4 to $7 return in cost savings to our society. This means that dwelling on moralistic questions such as who deserves what kind of help blocks both the individual and society from receiving the economic and social benefits that we can achieve from treating addicts. In conclusion, we should view addiction for what it is, a brain disease. And with a little more compassion and understanding, we could help the recovery process by accepting what science has proven. We can also help addicts be less isolated by accepting them and encouraging treatment. And lastly, with compassion, war is even stronger.